Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen. So today I am going to experiment on a recipe that I tried when I was in Hawaii. It was a Monte Cristo, at least their version, which had Hawaiian sweet bread, some cheese in there, their Kalua pork, and it was dipped in a French bread batter. So I'm going to experiment on doing that today in my kitchen. So it's early morning, so I'm gonna get started. All right, so for starters, I have my Hawaiian bread. I bought the round roll, which is here, and I went ahead and cut up some pork I did on the grill. And so I have that ready, and I have some cheese that I'm gonna use, and then I'm gonna make my dip batter. So I'm gonna use some half and half, an egg, and some cinnamon with some sugar in there and mix that up. So I'll walk you guys through that. I have my skillet ready, so I'm gonna turn that on. I'm gonna heat that up with some coconut oil that I'm going to use. You could use butter if you like, but I'm gonna just use some coconut oil because I want that nice coconut flavor. All right, so here we go. So what I did earlier, I took my bread knife and I just sliced my bread. Of course, because they're the round ones, they're gonna be really big. So earlier, I just went ahead and cut the longer one in half. Of course, if you wanna make this really big, go for it. Oops, there it is. A bread knife does the job. So my sliced bread, this will be a huge one. And then you can cut it when you're done making it, or you can cut it in half like I did this one earlier. So we're gonna put this together, but before I do that, let's get the batter together. So usually I love making French toast for my kids. I usually do an egg, about a half a cup of milk, or half and half. Half and half will make it a little bit richer. And you just pour that in there. Add a little bit of cinnamon. If you have it, you can add a little bit of vanilla just to give it some flavor. Just a couple of drops. Give it a good whisk. Make sure the egg is completely mixed in. Yeah, I think this is good. All right. Okay, I'm gonna put this to the side. So assemble. Again, the meat. If you do your pork and it's shredded, that's fine. If they're not shredded, you can slice them up. You can slice them up like I did. So that's what I did here. All right. Had just enough pork cut up, so yay for me. And if you watched my video earlier, I had taken some pork and I seasoned it with panda leaves, with some salt, some black pepper. I put it on my grill. Oh, and I also did like a lime leaf with it as well. So I did that and cooked it up on the grill. So that's one way, or you can slow roast some pork. And if you can find smoke in a bottle, you can add some of that to it. And if you can find some banana leaves, you can wrap the pork in banana leaves and just let it slow cook. So here's my cheese. And again, depending on how much cheese you like, you can add, but usually a slice of cheese does the trick. Of course, if I'm using the bigger bread, I'm gonna use more cheese. So folding it over because I don't want it to end up spilling over into the pan. And there we go. One of this should be enough. I'm gonna need more. And again, use any cheese you like, guys. I am using this today, as you can see. And you could use cheddar, Swiss, any of your favorites. Okay, there we go. Once you do that, you cover. And I want to make sure this is nice and hot, but not too hot. I'm going to get my oil on there. And I'm just going to watch my heat so it doesn't cook too fast. And again, like I said, you could use butter. I'm using some coconut because I want that nice flavor in on this bread. So here we go. So close these up. And it's a dip. You don't necessarily need to soak it too much because this bread is really soft. Get it on the grill. Okay, want to make sure I make some room for my other one, as this one is kind of big. Let's see. And I'm going to tell you guys, easier when they're cut in half. They're just easier to manage. Let's put this back in here because it fell out. All right, usually when I'm making French toast, I pull out my bigger grill, but in this case, I'm using my smaller one. So if you don't want to overpack, you don't have to put them all on here. But you know, I'm gonna manage this in a way that I can get this done. Let's bring you closer so you can see the action. Oh boy, this smells so delicious. All right, let's see what they look like. Flip them. And like I said, you don't have to put them all on the grill. This is me just doing my experiment on this. So I chug them all over. So lift and flip. Look at that beautiful color. That's what you want. All right. And this doesn't take long. So once you have this cooked on both sides, look how beautiful these look. You're going to serve this up with some maple syrup. Let's check the other side. Oh, wow. Beautiful. Can you see it? Of course, you know, it's not as hot on the other side, so be careful. I'm gonna actually flip this one over so I can get some more color. So what I want to happen with this, guys, is I want the cheese to melt in there. So I am making sure that I give it enough time on the frying pan to, one, get some color. That's why I say don't turn it on high. And I want to give the cheese time to really melt. So this one I could see the cheese is melting. This one I could see that the cheese needs a little bit more time to melt. So I'm going to flip it back over on that side because that's the side the cheese is on. This one looks like it's almost ready. All right, I'm turning my heat all the way down to low because just right now I just really want everything to just melt. And I could tell these are ready. So I am going to start taking them off because my pan is getting too hot. So, experiment completed. French toast. These are the bigger ones. I separated them out. And if you have kids at home, or even someone like me that just wants to eat a smaller version of this, here you go. I know when my granddaughter and my son had this in Hawaii, they just devoured it. So again, melted cheese, the pork on the inside, a nice sweet bread, which I went with the Hawaiian style sweet bread, and just egg and milk batter with some cinnamon powder with a little bit of sugar added to it, and then just fry them up in on a skillet. So I use coconut oil, and that's to cook these up. So let me grab my maple syrup, and let's see what it tastes like. So this is more like a savory sweet flavor. So there we go. Oh my gosh, this looks so yummy. So let's cut in. And the bread is still nice and soft, and the cheese is all gooey. Oh my, I need a nice cup of coffee or tea to go with this. Okay. Wow. Very, very delicious. So I am actually going to do this in my August cooking class coming up with the Orange County Library. I haven't sent them my recipe yet for August, so now that I know this turned out really well, I'm going to add this to my list. So join me. Hope to see you soon. Try this. Let me know what you think. Share your comments. I appreciate it, and see you soon.